Hey folks, my name is Krishna and thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can harness the power of vector shapes when you are drawing in a raster environment. Now, if you're using Photoshop, you have access to some vector shapes right within the toolbar, which we'll talk about momentarily. The example that I'm showing here is a tomb of some type that was drawn using shapes as the basis for the structure. And this can be very helpful when you're learning perspective, or you just have to quickly dash something out. These are some really nice techniques that you can incorporate as part of your practice. So we're going to take a brief look at how these vector shapes work. This is not meant to be a comprehensive, complete tutorial on all aspects of vectors, but if you want to see more of that, let me know in the comments below. And we're sticking with Photoshop here, and I do realize that you can use Illustrator and design vector elements and bring them in as smart objects into Photoshop. But Photoshop has a few vector tools up its sleeve that I think make it worth investigating. So let's go ahead and make a brand new layer. We'll hide all of our stuff so far. And we're interested in the toolbar, and you might see something like the rectangle tool, but there's a lot of other shapes that live within this space. And we're not going to go over every single one, but I want to hit some high points here for you. Let's just choose the rectangle tool. If I choose the rectangle tool, I can drag it, I can make a box, and you can see that my box right here has a blue outline, and I have a set of dashed lines that are going around the perimeter of this particular box. This leads us to a conversation about how you can display a specific shape. Right now, I've got a fill set to white, or no fill rather, but I can choose something like light blue, and my fill color changes. Similarly, I can also choose the type of stroke, which is the outline around the shape. I can choose a solid line stroke, or I can go ahead and choose a dashed line stroke, or a dotted line stroke. And these give you some very powerful weapons to wield that you can use in conjunction with your raster art. The other thing that's also really neat about this is you have certain controls. In this particular case, you've got 4 small blue circles. If I were to click on one of those circles and move inward, I can make this shape more rounded. I'll hit Command Z and show you another way that you can do this. If I only want this specific corner to be affected by the rounding tool, I can hold down the Option key, and you can see that I have only one side rounded. Now, where this can be very useful is if you're trying to construct something in perspective. So let me just now hit Command T. I'll right click and choose perspective. And I'll hit return. And now I've got this shape that has the, it's got a vanishing point on the left-hand side. There's nothing really on the right-hand side yet, but if I wanted to, what I could do is I could duplicate this particular shape, move this shape over. I can transform it, scale it down, move it behind, and now I have an opening. Now, I could go ahead and merge those layers, but there's no real point in doing that for this specific example. But what I can do is I can move it to a new layer, and I'll use my black drawing here, and I can just simply render on top. In fact, let me just drop the opacity so you can see this a little bit better. So I can draw directly on top. I don't have to follow the entire outline. Let's say that I want to create a little bit of a gap here. I can do that, and you can see that I'm using my hand-inked art. Maybe there's a small opening here. I can follow the outline. And thereby I can kind of preserve a more naturally drawn organic look. Perhaps this is made of stone or some other structure here, and I can work with that. So that's just scratching the surface of what I can do with these shapes. So let's take a look at a few other ways that we can utilize these shapes. Let's start off with our rectangle tool. I'll make the stroke 25 pixels by just typing that value in. I could also use the slider. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring another shape. I'm going to bring the ellipse tool. I'll just go ahead and create an ellipse that looks something like this. In the Properties panel, you'll see that now we have something called the Pathfinder. Now this is, if you've used Illustrator, this is very similar to what you see in Illustrator. Illustrator has way more options with the Pathfinder tool. And Photoshop has some rudimentary tools that allow you to work within the confines of Photoshop, but if you're really trying to do something more elaborate, you'll want to use Illustrator or another vector-based tool. So I have these two shapes here, and I can go ahead and select them by holding down the Shift key. You can see that right now I've got Union, which is basically merging both tools. This will take effect as soon as I go ahead and actually merge these two layers physically together. So if I hit Command E, you can see that that turns into one complete shape. In fact, I'll make a brand new layer so you can see what I'm talking about. So I can merge two distinct shapes to create a compound shape, right? And we'll try it with some other shapes here. We'll go ahead and use a triangle, and we'll use a polygon. And as you make these shapes, it's basically putting them on their own separate layers. We can choose, let's say we'll choose the difference, like whatever is left over, it's going to subtract the outer part. So I'm going to choose that option here. I'll shift select these two shapes and I'll hit Command E, and it's subtracting the inner part of the shape. And what's also really cool is, even though this is a compound shape, I can still change things like the stroke. I can change the stroke options. So basically I can work with this particular shape. Now, I can't take a compound shape and merge it with another primitive shape like a square or a circle. That kind of goes beyond what this particular tool can do. But if you need something in a pinch, this is actually pretty darn useful. I make use of this quite a number of times in my own work. And it gives me a lot of flexibility, and you can use this for a number of things like ideation, to create structures, to create spaceships, even characters if you want. So I've got this here, and let's just go ahead and choose a perspective on that. We'll hit return, and if I wanted to make a copy of this, so if I'm trying to make a copy, you'll just see what happened here. I hit Command J. And this is only copying the last shape. So something that you want to be aware of is, if you do want to make a copy of this specific grouping, you'll have to right click and choose duplicate layer. And then it'll give you the ability to make a copy of the entire thing. And now I can take the bottommost layer and I can move it down. I can also scale it down. And what I can do then is make a three-dimensional structure. I can connect, for example, these elements right here. So I can make something look pretty, you know, sci-fi, or like almost like a floating island if I'm looking at this from, you know, like a worm's eye view. I mean, I can keep it as straight and clean as possible too, but what I'm trying to show you here is I'm not going for a very clinical set of lines. I want these lines to feel like they have, you know, some organic component to it. And so now I've got something that I can work with. It looks kind of interesting, I think. And then when I'm done with it, I can hide both of these layers and I can see what I'm left with. I can turn this into stone. I can add some textural elements. I can add some hatching. I can add an opening, create a black fill. And now I've got something that just looks unusual and kind of worth checking out. In fact, I'll just add a black fill here. So I've got some kind of a three-dimensional structure here, and I've just created that very easily. So that's the tip. Vectors can be a powerful ally when you're working with raster tools. So don't discount them. You can bring those vectors in, you can manipulate those vectors, and use them as almost like a template or a stencil, if you will, to help you with your drawings. And the other nice thing about this too is I also have the ability, if I select this particular shape, if I command click on it, I can make a selection. And you can see that that selection is now active here. And I can do other things with that. So if you found some value in this tip, please give it a thumbs up so more folks can find it. As always, I thank and value each and every one of you. I appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.